David Gove, who is a master diver with the US Navy. David, welcome back. And I say welcome back. You've been tracking this story for us for the past few days, and your analysis has been pretty much spot on. And of course, when we spoke at this time yesterday, we didn't know exactly what the fate of the Titan was. What are your thoughts now?
The more I've looked at it, the more I see that someone disregarded safety for profit. It's hard not to say that because you see other things that talk about the construction of that submersible, and they were using stuff from the hardware store, a PS5 controller to steer it. The compass was off, as stated earlier. I agree with a lot of the things that the director James Cameron said about the inability of doing certification, and it wouldn't have passed anyways. In the Navy, we do it very different, and we make sure that our stuff is certified through NAVC, and it becomes on the ANU list, and that's submersibles or diving equipment or anything like that. So we make sure that people will be safe. To put that in retrospect, in our military, the last sub that didn't come back up was 57 years ago. So it speaks volumes about our safety record, the Navy's safety record. But it really puts a damning light on the Ocean Gate Titan. And my heart bleeds for the people that were in there because they thought they would be safe, but they obviously weren't. And it really is unfortunate that something like this happened.
Yeah, and of course, those passengers may not have known that they were getting into an unsafe vessel. Of course, there's lots of calls for more regulation about private vessels like this that operate in international waters. David, can you talk us through what an implosion is like? I mean, does it happen gradually? Does it happen immediately?
Immediate.
What does that mean? That the vessel is being crushed from outside?
Yeah. So to put this in perspective, the vessel was subjected at the depth of 13,400 feet, or whatever the depth was. It was around that area, to about 3 tons per square inch. 3 tons per square inch. When you bring that down and it gets that much pressure on it, it's like a coat hanger. And when you bend a coat hanger, it stresses it. And eventually it'll break. What you're doing is you're stressing the coat hanger, just like the Ocean Gate Titan was stressed. And when you get enough stress, a small crack in a weld or anything else that's wrong with that thing will cause an implosion, and it's quick. I mean, you're talking 3 tons pushing in there. It's almost merciful that it happened that way if it did. Because anytime there's an implosion with a mini submarine, it's almost instant, especially at that depth. That's a deep depth, and people don't realize that. They I think I said this last time. They look at underwater as a swimming pool that they can go retrieve something. That's not the case. These are you could stack 7 to 8 twin tower buildings on top of each other to equal the depth that they were at. It is a long way down. So it's unfortunate that happened. And again, my heart goes out to them. And I even heard something about the kid that was the son of the billionaire not wanting to go on it because he was sheepish about it, but he wanted to impress his dad. And it's just like, so my opinion, and I'll be quiet here in a second, but the 3 things missing is third-party certification, which you've heard so much. Mm-hmm. It is. That is missing. The second one is certifications, meaning they need to show that the pilot of it wasn't just a businessman, that he was an accomplished person for many submarines. And the third is practicing emergency and operational procedures. None of this was done. So it's shocking that there was so many missteps on this. And I do think that there needs to be something formed, and it's strange to say, but internationally, where something like this can't happen again.
Yeah, absolutely. David, just finally, do you think the effort it would take to recover the debris is worth it?
I think it's important to do so. It just depends on what ROVs they have in the area. We really need to know exactly what happened. I was actually on a couple of plane crashes, and it was pretty amazing how the Federal Aviation Administration put together the aircraft as a puzzle, and they figured out how the reasoning for certain aircraft crashing. So I think if they could get some of the debris, they could piece that together and come up with a reason or where it imploded at. It's always good to learn the lesson. I know that it's going to cost some money, but I do know that the military will push like hell to retrieve the vessel, the remains of it, and give it over to whoever they're supposed to give it to investigate why and where this happened.
David, same as yesterday. Thank you so much indeed for sharing your expertise with us. Really, really instructive. David Gove in Aviano in Italy.